Finally, I played one season in third division, and I was spotted by Kamak Babenda. One day I was in school in Nacho, and I saw the president of Kamak Babenda, who was then the late Fon Ngwai, the second of Balikumbat. And he came there looking for me himself. I finally came out and joined him. He's like, "You're going to play for Kamak." That's the first thing he told me. "You're going to play for Kamak Babenda." I said, "All right, no problem." And from there, I joined Kamak. Few months later on, we qualified for the 1984 Interpols for Kamak Bamenda to ascend to Division 1. And successfully that year, we made Division 1. So that was the year 84, 85. I played again for another 2 seasons in Bamenda, Kamak. By then, I was already selected for the junior national team. And then Kamak, I was not able to do so well in school because I thought soccer was hindering my progress. I really wanted to go to school. So I left Bamenda unceremoniously 1 year, and I just left and went to Limbe. And in Limbe, I didn't want to play football.
Okay. For those who don't know, actually, Kamak, that was marketing board, right?
That's correct.
Are you after the era of because my cousin Ayokogba Ferdinand played for PWD Bamenda, but I remember in that era they were one of the top guys over there. Did you play in his era, or did you come after that era?
Actually, I did play against all those top players in PWD Bamenda, talking Dr. Kwe, G Sunday. And I was also one of the players who was supposed to play for PW through Kemeto, but most PW Bamenda players and the board said, no, that guy is just playing school soccer. So he was not ready yet. When I started playing for Kamak, and we beat them, the very first game in our history, Kamak against PW Bamenda, we beat them in Bamenda.
And
they beat us in the return leg. Yes.
Was that the team when Kubu was also playing?
That was my promotion. That's Kubu, late Emmanuel Njiki, they call it Bob Njiki. We had Kasara join us from Kamak Limbe. We had Boteba, late Masing, late Sinju.
You're talking about late Masing Benjamin?
Yes, late Benjamin Masing was playing as a stopper, and I was playing as a sweeper. He had a big giant stopper and a little sweeper behind.
You are one of the rare Cameroonians, I'm sorry, not Cameroonians, Anglophones, to have captained Canon Yaoundé. How was that experience?
Well, before coming to Canon, I already experienced being a captain, and I was a captain for the junior national team. And then I was a captain for the under 23 team, which is usually framing like Espoir. And then even in Kamak Bamenda, a lot of times I had the captain band, because earlier it was late Manga Labinda who was the captain. And then we had some senior players on the team. But my second and third year in Kamak, I had some days where I was a captain. So I was part of the captain group of Kamak Bamenda. So when I got to Canon Yaoundé, I met the captain then, was late Fede Louis Paul. And then after Fede Louis Paul, they went to Ewaneja Cup. And then from Ewaneja Cup, they passed it on to Onana Jules Denis, who the assistant was Ndipakem Victor. So at one point, a former player, a legend in Cameroon, Abega Tofil, integrated the team as the director general, the sporting director. And not to make a short story long, he had a beef with Manga Ongede, who was the coach then, and they didn't get along quite well from their days of playing in Canon Yaoundé. So everybody was kind of close to Manga. Deep, they were really close to Manga. So there was kind of a political situation going in Canon at that time. and I was against the Manga Ongenes and stuff. So Abega leaned towards me. So finally, he succeeded in getting Ndiba out and Onana out of Canon. When he did that, eventually they looked around. The veteran there was me, though Afaka was still there, but they knew that I had a voice. I had a voice in locker room. Even I wasn't captain, I had a big voice. So then I was nominated as the captain at that time.
Excellent. So how does it differ, right? I know we come from the English-speaking part of Cameroon, and I remember in your story, you had to move from Bamenda and go to Limbe because you had interest to focus on your education, and you did not do well when you were in Bamenda in your education. And coming from the Anglophone culture, we know we have a lot of examples where parents don't even want their sons to actually play football. But how did it differ? You playing in the Anglophone area and you playing in the Francophone area, where in the Francophone area, most parents over there, they are more inclined to letting their sons actually have a profession in football. So for you, how was that tug of war? How did it affect or hinder your progress as a player?
My late mom would buy a soccer ball for me and the soccer shoes, but she kept the ball. When I was rewarded for doing my chores, and I'll get my soccer ball and I could play. So already from there, you could tell that it was a little bit supportive from my own family. Not like they just let me play all the time, but she knew that I loved it. Everybody knew that I loved to play, but my ball cannot come out if I have not done my chores. So then move on. Like I said, I was a student playing. I was in Form 4, Form 5 playing soccer in the first division in Cameroon. And for 2 years, I couldn't make the O levels. It didn't help that if I play a game in Yaoundé on Wednesday, it means I've already missed almost 2 days of school. And then when I come back on Thursday too, I'm still flat because I'm tired. It's a long trip. So all that made me at one point, after my second failure of honorary levels, I decided I'm not going to go. I'm not going to play soccer this year. I'm going to go to Limbe. And luckily in Limbe, I had my O levels.
In my opinion, that's because of a lack of structure, right? And we still see that happening now. Back home is difficult for someone who's in college or in high school to actually follow, like go to school and play football. You must either drop out, go to a football school, or you drop football totally and actually focus on your schoolwork. So I don't agree where you said you are not right. It's just difficult handling those two professions while in Cameroon, being a student and being a footballer, full time or part time. It's actually very, very difficult. But also, you are a Cameroonian international, over 32, participations like in the national team. You started from juniors. What is your greatest? I must say, what is your greatest memory as an Indomitable Lions of Cameroon?
I could say we had a very tough qualifying for the World Cup, and I still consider that game like one of my most memorable time. Cameroon qualified for the 1994 World Cup, playing one crucial game in Guinea-Conakry. We beat Guinea in Guinea 1-0 with 10 men playing for 85 minutes. Oh no, 85. It's almost 75 minutes with 10 players. Ndiba got a red card right in the first 10, 15 minutes of the game. And the whole thing was completely, the coach had to change the lineup, brought Oman back in the midfield, and left only Chami Alphonse up front. We had Embe David on the right side, who's really pacey. And then on the left side, we had Mfede. So in the midfield, we're playing a 4-4-1 right now. With only Chami up front, and Chami has pace and is really forceful. So our game had to change. We had to start playing some long balls, and that was my heaviest bonus in one particular game in my Cameroon national team history, because before the game, even before that tough time on the field, we were promised each 5 million after the game, 5 million CFA. And everybody took that game very seriously. So for us to come out of there with one of the best Guinean national team that existed with Titi Camara, with all those, yes. So for us to keep Titi Camara away from our goal, and Bel Antoine, if I've never ever praised Bel Antoine, that particular game, Bel Antoine kept us in that game several times. I remember 2-3 actions where Titi Camara came in front of Bel one-on-one, and Bel had to save it. So it's one game that I always remember. Not only how high stake that game was. Imagine we were coming from another African country, because when I played, I think, a friendly game in Guinea, in Puerto Rico, Guinea something. So
Guinea Conakry.
On our way there,
mm-hmm.
we had some African craft that we bought. Everything was confiscated at the airport, at the border.
So
when we're getting it. Yeah, it was a high-stake game. They didn't treat us like a visiting country. We went through security. Normally, the youth and sports, or the sports in that country, the federation would just come and say, okay, this country, this is the national team. They just go through and get into the bus. No, we went through normal check-in, and every single perfume or everything we had was kept, and we only got them when we're leaving.
Wow. So psychologically, they messed with you guys.
Yeah. Yes. And then on our bags, every bag, they wrote 3030, the chalk. So it was very memorable to me how we came out of that place, winning that game 1-0. The goal scored by Chami.
Okay. And you were one of the few internationals, let's say, in the DFW era, not only in the DFW, one of the few, including the Mbue Mills and all that, to have made it to a World Cup, because you were in USA 1994. How was that experience for you?
I mean, if you put 1 million soccer players to tell them they're going to go to a World Cup, I think 1 million of them will say they want to have that experience. I mean, I missed out on 1990, because if you see 1990, my promotion in junior national team were like 8 players who were there. And not to make a long story, I was supposed to be recruited, but I decided at one point I'm playing in Division 2. I went and played in Santos because of money, and I missed out on that selection. So moving forward, 94 was I was really determined. I had finished, I've gone to my physical education school, St. Ajes, the sports schools, and I came out as a PE teacher. At that time, I wasn't thinking anything but playing soccer. And I had a job. I knew that I was guaranteed now to play. And I joined Canon Yaoundé. So when I joined Canon Yaoundé in 1989, and I missed out in 1990, I knew that I would push stronger to make the 94 team. So at the time, going to 94, I was, I think, at my best level. If most of the people who were around me and even journalists knew that I was at a very good level in 94 coming into the World Cup. So when the first coach, Harry Michel, came, and they asked him after about a month, said, "I've been watching the first vision in Cameroon. What do you think? Do you think there's any player you could count on for the World Cup?" And he said the Canon captain is very impressive to him. So that word alone, most people knew that I'll be called up.